hook. What if I told you that most people today aren't living, they're merely surviving, not because they're weak, but because they've handed their strength away to fear, to comfort, to distractions that drain them daily. We scroll endlessly. We compare ourselves to strangers. We envy what others have, and then we wonder why we feel empty. The truth is brutal. Comfort is making us fragile. But hardship, the very thing we run from, holds the key to becoming unshakable. The ancient Stoics knew this long before social media or self-help books. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just philosophy. That's a battle cry. Stoicism doesn't make life easier, it makes you unstoppable. Introduction. In this video, we're going deep into 12 powerful Stoic lessons that will rewire how you think, act, and endure. These aren't pretty quotes to hang on a wall. These are battle-tested truths that guided emperors, warriors, and philosophers through wars, betrayals, and death itself, and they're just as relevant now as they were 2,000 years ago. Each lesson is designed to make you mentally stronger, emotionally grounded, and spiritually unshakable. But before we begin, I need you to do one thing. Don't treat this like background noise. This isn't just another motivational clip to half-watch while scrolling. This is your wake-up call. If you're serious about growth, like this video right now, drop a comment when a lesson hits hard. Share it with someone who needs this. And most importantly, watch until the end, because missing even one lesson could cost you clarity or strength in a moment that matters most. Welcome to Sculpted Grace. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Embrace discomfort like a friend. We've been taught our whole lives to avoid pain, but the Stoics flipped that belief on its head. They trained themselves to lean into discomfort, to treat hardship not as an enemy, but as the forge that shapes strength. Ask yourself this: when did you grow the most in life? Was it when everything was comfortable and easy? Or was it when life knocked you down, when you were forced to rise or stay broken? The Stoics knew the answer. Marcus Aurelius ruled during wars, plagues, and betrayal, yet he wrote about staying calm, steady, and composed. He didn't run from discomfort. He welcomed it as the path to greatness. As he said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Discomfort isn't there to destroy you. It's there to train you. Every obstacle is a chance to sharpen your will. Every rejection is a test of resilience. Every delay is a lesson in patience. Modern life tells us, avoid pain, avoid struggle. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. That cold shower you don't want to take, train in. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding, training. That workout when you're tired and don't feel like moving, training. Seneca, another Stoic, would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, and wear rough clothing just to remind himself that if life ever stripped him bare, he'd already be ready. And here's the truth. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you who you are, but more importantly, who you're becoming. When you avoid discomfort today, you set yourself up for greater suffering tomorrow. But when you lean into it, when you willingly walk through fire, something shifts. You stop fearing the pain. And that's the beginning of freedom. So from now on, treat discomfort like a sparring partner. It might bruise you, but it's building you. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Discomfort is my training ground. Lesson 2. Stop being owned by your emotions. Your emotions are powerful, but left unchecked, they can make you weak. Anger, jealousy, fear, sadness, these are natural. But the Stoics understood that being owned by them is slavery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's real power. The truth is, most people today are emotional slaves. Someone insults them online, and their whole day is ruined. A relationship fails, and they spiral for months. A dream doesn't come true on their timeline, and they crumble. That's not strength. That's weakness disguised as normality. Stoicism teaches you that emotions are signals, not commands. Anger can show you what matters. Fear can reveal where you need to grow. Sadness can point to what you've lost. But none of them should dictate your actions. Seneca said it best. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And he was right. Most of our pain doesn't come from what actually happens, but from the endless replay in our minds. The story we tell ourselves over and over again. When you let your emotions control you, you lose twice. Once from the event itself, and again from your reaction to it. But when you master your emotions, you win twice. Once by enduring the moment, and again by transforming it into strength. Here's how to apply this today. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, pause. Instead of raging, remind yourself, this is training. The next time a coworker or family member disrespects you, don't take the bait. Recognize that their behavior is their burden, not yours. The next time fear tries to stop you from pursuing something important, ask, what would the Stoics do? The answer, they would act with courage, not hesitation. You can't stop emotions from arising, but you can stop them from ruling you. And once you master that, you become untouchable. The world can throw storms your way, but inside, you remain calm, steady, and unshaken. That's not numbness. That's mastery. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my emotions. They don't control me. Lesson 3. Focus only on what you can control. If there's one principle at the very heart of Stoicism, it's this. Control what you can. Let go of the rest. Epictetus made it clear in his Enchiridion. Some things are in our control and others not. That's the line. That's the filter through which every single challenge in life should pass. Most people waste their energy fighting battles they cannot win. They obsess over how others see them, what society thinks, whether the economy will crash, whether someone will like them back. But here's the truth. You control none of that. The Stoics would call this madness, pouring your energy into what was never yours to command. Instead, your focus must be razor sharp. Your thoughts, your choices, your discipline, your actions, that's it. That's your kingdom. Everything outside that, it's not freedom. It's slavery, because you're letting things beyond your control dictate your peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius lived this lesson daily. Imagine being emperor of Rome. Wars, betrayals, plagues, politics. He could have gone insane under the weight of it all. But instead, he wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That reminder kept him sane in a world on fire. Now think about your own life. How much time have you wasted worrying about things you can't control? The job market, the weather, other people's opinions. None of that is yours. What is yours is how hard you work, how disciplined you stay, how much effort you put into improving. You can control whether you show up every day with consistency. You can control whether you practice patience, whether you train your mind, whether you keep moving forward. Here's the power of this principle. Once you stop chasing what you can't control, you free up immense energy to master what you can. Suddenly, you're not scattered or drained. You're focused, you're steady, you're dangerous, because nothing can knock you off course. The Stoics had a saying, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." You don't have to like what life throws at you, but you must accept it. Resistance is wasted energy. What matters is how you respond. So ask yourself, am I burning energy on things I can't control? Or am I investing everything into the only thing I truly own? My mind, my actions, my character. That's the shift. That's the freedom. That's Stoicism. Type this in the comments to lock it in. I focus on what I can control, and I let go of the rest. Lesson 4. The obstacle is the way. Life is not smooth. It's jagged, unpredictable, and full of barriers that will test you in ways you can't prepare for. Most people see obstacles as curses. The Stoics, they saw them as the very path forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Pause on that. He isn't saying obstacles are detours. He's saying obstacles are the road itself. Whatever blocks you is secretly the thing that will shape you. Think about fire. If you feed it logs, it doesn't get weaker. It burns hotter, stronger, brighter. That's you when you practice Stoicism. Every setback, every rejection, every heartbreak isn't fuel to stop you. It's fuel to forge you. The Stoics understood this because they lived it. Seneca was exiled from Rome, stripped from his position, and separated from his family. He could have broken down in despair. Instead, he turned exile into a chance to study, write, and build his philosophy. The very obstacle that seemed to end his life became the foundation of his greatest work. Now ask yourself, how many times have you cursed the obstacle in your path? The job you didn't get, the relationship that fell apart, the health scare, the betrayal. All of it felt like life was against you. But what if life wasn't against you at all? What if it was giving you the exact conditions needed to build strength? The obstacle isn't punishment, it's training. Here's the mindset shift. When you hit a wall, don't ask, why me? Ask, how can I use this? The breakup? It's teaching you independence. The job loss? It's pushing you toward growth. The injury? It's giving you patience, resilience, gratitude. The failure? It's giving you knowledge that success never could. You either let obstacles bury you, or you stand on them and rise higher. In my own journey, I once faced what I thought was the end of everything I had worked for. A project I'd poured years into collapsed overnight. At first I felt crushed, but slowly, through the words of Marcus Aurelius, I realized something. I could either let this defeat define me, or I could turn it into fuel. I chose fuel. And that collapse became the foundation of something far greater. The Stoics remind us, you don't get to choose what life throws at you, but you always get to choose how to respond. And that choice is everything. So remember this, the obstacle isn't in your way. The obstacle is the way. If this hits you, type in the comments, I turn obstacles into fuel. Lesson 5. Practice negative visualization. Most people live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They cling to comfort, assume stability, and then collapse when life inevitably strips something away. The Stoics refused to live in that illusion. Instead, they practiced a brutal but liberating exercise. Negative visualization. Seneca described it like this: "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." What does that mean? It means imagining the loss before it happens, so you're never owned by it. Think about it. You fear losing money, so you stay anxious, desperate, trapped. You fear losing loved ones, so you avoid saying what you truly feel, wasting time in silence. You fear losing your health, but you don't live fully with the health you have now. The Stoics flipped this. Every day they'd remind themselves, what if this was my last sunrise? What if this meal was my last? What if the person I love is gone tomorrow? Dark? Maybe. But powerful? Absolutely. Because instead of breeding fear, it breeds gratitude. Suddenly, you look at your morning coffee and think, this might be the last one I ever taste, and you savor it. You look at your friend or partner and think, what if this is the last time I see them? And you love them harder, deeper, more authentically. You look at your own body and think, what if tomorrow I can't move like this? And you push yourself with urgency. Negative visualization doesn't depress you, it wakes you up. It makes you alive. Epictetus reminded his students, never say of anything, I have lost it, but I have returned it. Has your child died? It has been returned. Has your wife died? She has been returned. That's not coldness, that's freedom. When you realize nothing was ever truly yours, you stop clinging, you stop panicking, you stop being shocked when life takes what it always could. And ironically, this detachment allows you to love more, not less, because you're no longer loving with fear. You're loving with presence. Try this. Tonight, before bed, picture losing one thing you take for granted. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's the person sleeping beside you. Imagine it gone. Feel the sting. Then open your eyes tomorrow and notice how grateful you are to still have it. That's negative visualization in action. The truth is, we don't control how long we get to keep anything, but we do control how deeply we appreciate it while it's here. And when life eventually takes it away, you won't break. You'll nod, breathe, and whisper, I trained for this. Drop this in the comments. I live with gratitude, not attachment. Lesson 6. Control the narrative. Control your life. Here's a brutal truth. Events don't break us. The stories we tell ourselves about those events do. The Stoics hammered this point over and over. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same event. One loses their job and spirals into despair, telling themselves, I'm worthless, I'll never recover. Another loses their job and reframes it. This is my chance to reinvent myself. This is a test. Same event, different narrative, totally different outcome. Most people live enslaved by automatic stories. They fail once and label themselves a failure. They get rejected and assume they're unlovable. They face hardship and assume the world is against them. That story, not the reality, becomes the prison. The Stoics knew better. They treated every situation like raw material. Epictetus compared it to an athlete training. Difficulties are things that show what men are. In other words, your interpretation is the battlefield. Modern life constantly feeds us disempowering narratives. You're behind. You're not enough. You're unlucky. You can't, but you don't have to swallow them. You get to choose a different script. When Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, he didn't think, I'm cursed. He thought, this is my training in patience. When Seneca faced exile, he didn't think, my life is ruined. He reframed it. Now I can write, now I can think, now I can live without distraction. Here's the key. Every thought is a lens. Keep the wrong one, and the world looks hopeless. Switch the lens, and suddenly the same reality looks like opportunity, training, growth. Next time something hard happens, stop and ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Then ask, is there a more empowering way to frame this? That shift changes everything, because the truth is, life will hand you chaos no matter what. But if you control the narrative, you control your response. And when you control your response, you control your destiny. Remember this, the event is nothing. Your story about the event is everything. Drop this in the comments. I choose the story that strengthens me. Lesson 7. Value time, like gold. Seneca once said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. That line cuts deep because most of us live like time is infinite. We scroll for hours, gossip about things that don't matter, delay the work that does. Then years pass, and we wonder why our dreams remain dreams. The Stoics saw time as the most precious currency, far more valuable than gold, silver, or fame. Why? Because you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Imagine this. If someone stole $100 from your wallet, you'd be furious. But when people steal hours of your life through meaningless drama, distractions, or empty obligations, most of us don't even notice. Yet that hour is gone forever. That's why Seneca urged us to guard our time with the same ferocity we guard our wealth. A wasted hour is not just a minor loss. It's a piece of your life you'll never get back. And here's the hard truth. The biggest thief of your time isn't other people. It's you. It's procrastination. It's waiting for the perfect moment. It's saying, I'll start tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That's not morbid. That's a wake-up call. The clock is ticking whether you're paying attention or not. So how do you live this out? Start by treating your time like the treasure it is. Say no more often, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Ask yourself before saying yes to anything, does this align with my values? Is this worth trading part of my life for? Because that's what you're doing every single time, trading life. And here's the paradox. When you respect your time, you actually enjoy it more. You don't rush. You don't regret. You become present because you know how rare each moment really is. That coffee with a friend isn't just catching up. It's a piece of your life you're choosing to share. That project you're working on isn't just busy work. It's your legacy being built brick by brick. If you learn nothing else from Stoicism, learn this. Stop waiting to start living. Life isn't coming later. It's happening now. Guard your time. Spend it wisely. Invest it in what matters. Because at the end, you won't regret the money you didn't make, but you will regret the time you didn't use. Drop this in the comments. My time is my most precious wealth. Lesson 8. Master yourself before you try to master the world. Everybody wants to change the world. But the Stoics asked a harder question. Can you even control yourself? Epictetus, who was born a slave and later became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. You can build businesses, win awards, or gain followers, but if you can't control your impulses, your anger, your addictions, then you're not leading, you're being led. Self-mastery isn't glamorous. It's not a viral post or a standing ovation. It's the quiet discipline of saying no when temptation screams yes. It's going to bed instead of binge-watching. It's holding your tongue instead of snapping back in anger. It's doing the workout when your body begs for comfort. These small victories are the foundation of real power, because if you can't govern yourself, you'll never truly govern anything else. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but his greatest battles weren't against armies. They were against his own impulses: ego, pride, distraction. That's why his private writings and meditations are filled with reminders like, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice he wasn't talking to us. He was talking to himself, daily. Even an emperor needed constant practice to master his mind. In our time, self-mastery looks like this. When social media tempts you into endless comparison, you log off and refocus. When cravings push you toward junk food or vices, you practice restraint. When fear whispers that you're not good enough, you take action anyway. Mastery isn't perfection. It's progress, one choice at a time. And here's the paradox. Once you master yourself, you don't need to control the world anymore. You realize the only kingdom worth ruling is the one inside. Your habits, your mindset, your reactions, that's your empire. And when you hold the throne of your inner world, nothing external can dethrone you. So stop trying to fix everyone else before you've fixed yourself. Stop chasing control out there until you've built control in here. The Stoics didn't say conquer the world. They said conquer yourself. That's where freedom begins. Drop this in the comments. I rule myself first. Lesson 9. Control your perspective. Control your power life will hit you hard. Sometimes it's loss, sometimes betrayal, sometimes failure that feels crushing. But here's the truth the Stoics drilled into their bones. The event itself is not what breaks you, it's your interpretation of it. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Think about that. The job loss, the breakup, the rejection, those aren't inherently destroying you. It's the story you attach to them. I'm worthless, I'm cursed, I'll never recover. That's what creates the suffering. Shift the story. Shift the power. Instead of, this ruined me, you tell yourself, this trained me. Instead of, this is the end, you say, this is my beginning. Same event, new lens, entirely different life. The Stoics weren't naive. They didn't deny reality or pretend everything was fine. They simply knew that perception was the battlefield. Epictetus reminded his students constantly, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. In other words, it's not the storm that sinks you, it's the way you steer your mind through it. Here's a modern example. Imagine two people miss the same flight. One curses, spirals into anger, ruins their whole day. The other shrugs, opens a book, and uses the extra time to learn. Same event. One lives in rage, the other in peace. The difference? Perspective. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control how you frame it. See obstacles as training. See delays as patience practice. See pain as proof you're alive and capable of enduring more than you thought. When you do this, life loses its power to crush you. Instead, it starts to shape you. From now on, remember this law. The story you tell yourself about your struggle determines whether it breaks you or builds you. Change your lens, change your life. Drop this in the comments. I control my perspective. Lesson 10. Speak less. Do more. Words are cheap. Actions are gold. Modern life is drowning in noise, social media updates, opinions, constant chatter. Everyone wants to say they're strong, disciplined, wise, but how many actually are? The Stoics knew that true power isn't proclaimed, it's demonstrated. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." Be one, think about it. You can talk about your goals, your discipline, your plans, your vision, but unless you act, you're just background noise in someone else's life. Stoicism teaches the hard, unglamorous truth. Talk less, do more, and let results speak. Seneca, Epictetus, and Aurelius didn't need followers to validate them. They didn't seek applause for virtue or courage. They lived it. When the storm hit, they acted. When the challenge appeared, they responded. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. Here's the brutal modern truth. How many hours are wasted scrolling, debating, or complaining while real action is delayed? Every postponed workout, every ignored email, every avoided confrontation is a step away from your potential. Your words may impress someone for a moment, but your deeds echo through time. Start small. Say less about what you'll do tomorrow and do more today. Stop announcing your fitness goals. Just train. Stop posting, "I'll write a book someday." Write a page today. Stop explaining how you'll improve your mindset. Meditate, journal, act. Let the transformation be visible. Let the results do the talking. There's incredible freedom here. When you act first and speak later, you stop seeking external validation. You stop measuring your worth by applause or recognition. Your value is measured in results, not promises. From now on, make this your mantra. I will do more than I say. Actions build momentum, clarity, and power. Words without action are just smoke. Comment below. I act first, speak later. Lesson 11. Build inner fortress, not outer approval. This is where most people fail. They build walls of ego, popularity, and approval instead of walls of virtue, resilience, and self-mastery. Social media, peer pressure, toxic relationships, they all tempt you to seek external validation. Stoicism teaches the opposite. The fortress you build inside cannot be breached by the opinions, betrayals, or judgments of others. Epictetus wrote, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In other words, humility and self-mastery are the foundation of real power. Stop chasing likes, praise, or recognition. These are temporary, fleeting, and fragile. Build your mind, your discipline, your integrity. These are permanent. Ask yourself, when no one is watching, when the crowd is gone, when the applause stops, are you still standing tall? That's the true measure of character. That's where freedom lies. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, civil unrest, and personal loss, yet he never depended on anyone else for his inner calm. He built an unshakable mind, a fortress of reason, discipline, and virtue. That's your template, not the Instagram likes, not the promotions, not the applause. Your inner life is your kingdom. Protect it, nourish it, expand it. From today, build an inner fortress. Each act of discipline, each choice of integrity, each rejection of superficial validation strengthens the walls. And when the storms of life hit, and they will, you remain unshaken. Drop this affirmation. My inner fortress is unshakable. Lesson 12. Live with purpose, not distraction. This is the final and perhaps most crucial lesson. Most people drift through life like a leaf on the wind, reacting, scrolling, reacting again. Time slips away, dreams fade, and yet we convince ourselves that life is happening to us instead of through us. Stoicism shatters this illusion. You are not a passenger, you are the captain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." That's not fear-mongering, that's clarity, that's urgency, that's power. Every wasted hour, every meaningless scroll, every half-hearted effort is a theft of your life, and no one will return it to you. Stoicism teaches relentless focus on what matters: virtue, growth, mastery, action. Distractions are everywhere. Phones, opinions, envy, comfort, ego. They promise relief, but deliver stagnation. A Stoic sees through them. You learn to say no to the trivial, so you can say yes to what shapes your mind, body, and soul. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Time is your most precious currency. Every moment spent in distraction is a moment you'll never reclaim. So take stock. How are you spending today? Are you building yourself, your character, your mind? Or are you surrendering your life to noise? Living with purpose doesn't mean chasing perfection. It means clarity of intention. Every action aligns with your values. Every decision reflects your principles. Every choice sharpens your mind, strengthens your will, or expands your soul. Here's how to start. Define your purpose. What matters most to you? What legacy do you want to leave? What virtues will you cultivate daily? Write it down. Let it guide every decision. Eliminate distraction ruthlessly. Social media, gossip, empty entertainment, these are time thieves. Guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Act daily. Purpose is nothing without action. Small, consistent steps compound into unstoppable momentum. Show up, even when you feel tired, scared, or uncertain. The Stoics trained themselves for adversity. You must train yourself for excellence. Reflect nightly. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal. Ask yourself, did my actions today align with my purpose? What did I do well? Where did I stray? This reflection sharpens your moral compass and strengthens your inner resolve. When you live like this, life stops controlling you. You stop being tossed by emotion, distraction, or circumstance. Instead, you move with intention, focus, and unstoppable force. People will notice it. Opportunities will align with your path. Chaos will occur, but you will navigate it like a seasoned captain, calm, composed, unbreakable. Remember, Stoicism isn't about comfort. It isn't about escaping life's storms. It's about transforming them into instruments of growth. It's about facing reality without flinching, acting with purpose without waiting for permission, and mastering yourself in a world designed to scatter your attention. Closing thoughts. 12 Stoic lessons. 12 weapons for your mind, body, and soul. Embrace discomfort. Stop being owned by your emotions. Stop expecting fairness. Focus on what you can control. Practice voluntary hardship. Detach from outcomes. Love the process. Embrace death. Live urgently. Be a warrior for virtue, not approval. Speak less, do more. Build an inner fortress. Reflect daily. Live with purpose, not distraction. This isn't theory. It's a blueprint. It's a call to rise. The Stoics didn't write for comfort. They wrote for survival, mastery, and greatness. They didn't promise life would be easy. They promised that if you train yourself, mind, body, soul, nothing external could ever break you. Sculpted grace brings you these lessons not as ancient relics, but as living, breathing tools for modern life. Apply them, live them, let the chaos hit, let the storms rage. You will stand unmoved, unshaken, unstoppable. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unstoppable, today and every day. And if you're ready to take your mind, discipline, and life to the next level, like this video, share it with someone who needs this, and subscribe to Sculpted Grace. Because the Stoic path is not a spectator sport. It's a way of life. One day, one choice, one action at a time, you become unshakable.